out of two YouTubers right there, two Air Force fighter pilot YouTubers, one of us has seen a UAP, and unfortunately it wasn't me. Chris Lato, welcome to Lato Files. What's up guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Chris Lato, retired F-16 pilot. My channel has been focusing on nature of universe and UFOs. Kind of by accident fell into this rabbit hole of UFOs because so many fighter pilots in particular have been seeing these, right, and recording them, the famous 3 videos. I was very happy just today to see another YouTuber, fighter pilot or ex-fighter pilot, talking about UFOs. This is his channel, now called Max Afterburner. He just recently changed it to be quite honest. I've been watching him, okay, as our subscriber counts. We started about the same time, and he's passing me, okay. Ryan's more mainstream. I see him as a more mainstream fighter pilot. If you follow my channel normally and you're really into UFOs and up to date, then I would ask you to give Ryan the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, so he does get a lot of things wrong with his actually talking about the intercept with David Fravor. It's not a stern intercept. The intercept already happened, etc. But I would say that it's just an initial cursory view. And what I was very excited to hear about is that Ryan went and talks about his own UAP sighting. I've never seen a UFO or UAP in the air at all. And so I was very happy to see a fighter pilot going on air really and talking about their own UAP encounter. So thanks for being at my channel, guys. I'm Chris Lato. Smash that like button if you do like this content. Subscribe. I put out videos as often as I can, at least once a week. And then you can support the channel at patreon.com/Chris Lato. But let's get on to the video. So I have been secretly watching Ryan's channel. Okay, it's awesome to see another fighter pilot out there doing YouTube videos. I wasn't used to it. His style is very different from mine. His videos are very different, more mainstream. But I do watch his videos once in a while, and I was very happy to see a UFO point come up. You know, I've commented, I've tried to reach out to Ryan. Hopefully he'll do a collab with me soon. Let's go through his actual encounter for a UAP. I hadn't heard one like this before. This is actually new to me. So let's hear that.
The wingman of Commander Fravor is pretty spooked and doesn't talk about this incident too much, but I think it's great that there were 4 of them up there to talk about what happened and to share the same story. Since they've shared that story, the US military has definitely made it less of a stigma to come forward and talk about strange things that you see. There's actually now a system set up in a debrief, and that's what happens after you fly a mission. You go in, you do a debrief with your intelligence office or intelligence unit, and you tell them what you saw. Specifically, you would do that in combat, but there's ways to do it during training as well where you can pass information up the chain. And supposedly they've made that way more streamlined since this incident, so that's definitely a plus that's coming out of it.
That's the first I've heard of this as well, okay, that officially they have actual UAP reporting procedures in the debrief. We always have a debrief afterwards, okay? And so you're going to debrief with maintenance to tell them any issues with the jets. Now it sounds like you can debrief with intelligence. Normally intelligence debriefs, like Ryan mentions here, would only be for downrange or if you're practicing for exercises. But now it sounds like if anyone sees a UAP, they have to funnel it to their intelligence officer, right? Brief them on it, and then it gets sent up to not be released, okay? To never be released, apparently, according to the Navy DoD. You can check my other video on that. How the Navy now will not release, through Freedom of Information Act requests, will not release any UFO videos. So sad to hear that, but at least they are collecting the information to then not share with us. But let's hear his actual engagement, his actual UAP encounter.
So now I'll tell you a few stories, as promised. I'll keep my promises to you guys about what I've actually seen, specifically while operating the F-15E and the F-16. So when I was in combat, I was actually scrambled on a UAP. Now, this I don't think was some sort of tic-tac type object. I think it was an aircraft. So I ended up getting close enough to this aircraft to where they turned around before I could identify them, and they went back and crossed the border that I couldn't cross. So personally, I think that UAP was a fighter, conventional type aircraft that I just can't tell you too much more about, and hopefully you understand that.
Okay, so that's an interesting first engagement. I hear about this overseas, right? You know, if you're flying in Iraq, what's right next to Iraq is Iran, right? Or Iran. So right next to them is aircraft. So you could be basically committed. So committed to go and intercept an aircraft, identify what it is. It sounds like, though, they just didn't cross the border. So it could have been maybe a foreign aircraft. If you look down, if you're in Afghanistan, it could be, I've heard stories of Pakistani aircraft coming across, or U.S. aircraft going into Pakistan, getting in trouble, going into other nations and getting into trouble. Okay, it does happen. Probably more often than you would like to admit, but again, nothing normally comes about this. So it sounds like he was committed onto one of these fighters, one of these engagements, never got to actually see it. Why he calls it a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, not sure why he would actually call that. I would ask him that question if I get to interview him ever, hopefully. Let's hear his next one. This one's quite cool to me, quite interesting.
The next one I saw was when I was flying over the Sierra Nevada mountains in an F-16. I was single ship doing a low level. And as I went over one of the ridges, I turned and began to plan my next ridge crossing. And what I saw, the best way I can describe it to you, was essentially a reverse explosion. So how a typical explosion would start in the center and then go out to the sides. This started as a big ring and went and kind of had some motion after that. I couldn't tell if it was like towards me or away from me, but it got my attention, and I just climbed up and took a deep breath and started just scanning and looking around me and using my radar to get situational awareness to make sure there weren't any other aircraft that I could see in my immediate vicinity. But that was something that was extremely, I will just say, jarring as an aviator. And I think when you see something like that, you do have this conversation with yourself where you're like, should I be talking about this? Should I be reporting this? And in that case, I did bring it up to some of my friends and asked if they had seen the same thing. There weren't a lot of policies and procedures in place at that time to kind of get that information to our intel services. But later down the line, when that kind of became less of a stigmatized type experience, I was able to pass that up the chain.
So interesting encounter there. I haven't actually heard of that, of like a reverse explosion. So a large going down to a point. I mean, I have heard that a lot, where you see crazy effects that you can't even identify, right? You can't even determine the shape. You can't determine your angle. You're looking at it because it's just so strange. And this kind of falls into that category of something we can't identify, right? Unidentified aerial phenomena. And that's really what it's about. I know a lot of people are against calling these things UAPs. They're more unidentified flying objects. But at the same point, what if it's something you can't even identify as an object? What if it's something like this, like a giant fireball going into nothing, and then there's some motion, some weird effects, and then it moves away? Okay, so it was enough to make Ryan abort his low level. Okay, so climb to cope. If you're down low, you're at 500 feet, you can die within a few seconds at that speed. So if anything weird happens and maintenance issues, you get a bird strike or something like that, you climb away from the ground. And so that's what Ryan did. And like you said there was no real way to report this thing up the chain. So no real way to report up the chain, which, again, he says has been updated. Hopefully it has. But again, it goes into a repository that we don't get access to. But I was happy to see Ryan actually bring this up. I would love to see more fighter pods talk about it. Look, nothing has happened to Ryan, okay? He's not being stigmatized. All we need is, if you have a UAP event, go and put it on YouTube. Upload your video, what you saw, dates, times, etc. Put it on YouTube. Okay, if it's not classified, what is stopping you? It's a stigma, it's a fear of being ridiculed. But if this is what you saw, chances are thousands and thousands of other people have seen it as well, and they have. Okay, but a lot of people are just not speaking about it. So thanks, Ryan, for speaking out. Thanks to the recent F-15 pilot over on the way to Hawaii who spoke out as well. So these can come out, but we need people to have the courage to go out there and actually say what they saw. Check out Ryan's channel. He actually goes on in this video and gives some ideas on von Neumann probes. So I was very happy as well to see that not only does Ryan give his actual UAP encounter, but then he talks about something that could be possible as a extraterrestrial event. So actually thinking outside the container and considering it as a real possibility, okay? And that's because he has seen a UAP himself. He's seen it, okay? So this thing happens. Out of two YouTubers right there, two Air Force fighter pilot YouTubers, one of us has seen a UAP, and unfortunately it wasn't me, okay? So anyway, thanks for being here. Smash that like button if you do like this content. Subscribe, and you'll get notifications, and then you can support my channel on patreon.com/Chris Lado. Thanks for being here, everybody. Peace.